Welcome to another in the series of Ealing Library's YouTube videos. My name is Susan Peatfield and I am licensed Main Minister at St Peter's here, and I'm delighted to be able to have the opportunity to share with you a little of what we're calling Angels in Ealing. Angels in Ealing is the celebration of the restoration of Our Lady Chapel here at St Peter's. Now, we have been described as the greatest public building in Ealing, but we're a little bit off the beaten track of the Uxbridge Road. We're open every day. We were built in 1893, and the architecture is a beautiful fusion of Gothic revival and arts and crafts. The jewel in the crown, though, is Our Lady Chapel. Originally designed as the Chapel of the Incarnation in 1913, the events of the following year, the terrible losses of the First World War, led it to be reimagined as a war memorial chapel, dedicated in 1921 and completed some 7 years later. Now it's this history which really makes it such an important place in the story, not just of St Peter's, but of this whole area of Ealing, carrying as it does the high hopes of those new parishioners and the loss, sorrow and need for remembrance of those who had lost so much in the First War. And it's as a consequence of both of these contexts that only the finest materials and the most skilled artists were used in the creation of this place, this beautiful place we still enjoy to this day. Now, as you can see, the chapel's interior includes some very fine wall paintings of angels, and hence the name for this project and this restoration. But water damage a few years ago meant that we urgently had to raise the money to conserve and to restore them. But it was also the opportunity for a research project into the hands that had made this beautiful place, the artists themselves that are represented here in the Lady Chapel. Not just the paintings of the angels, but also the beautiful Kemp windows and the carved reredos behind me, the backing to the altar created by Cecil Greenwood Hare of Bodleian Hare, chief inheritors of the Gothic revival. Now, what the research by our project manager found was a circle of artists living and working in the Ealing area. Now, the quality of their work shines very clearly, even more clearly now in the process of restoration. But it's good too to colour in some of the stories of those artists, including Henry Charles Brewer, the painter of the angels, and Edward Arthur Fellows Prynne, who has been called the lost Pre-Raphaelite. Now, as a result of this research, a new book is being written which tries to bring together those stories, the stories of the angels, the ones on the walls, the hands that made them, and the ones whose sacrifice is remembered here. I want today to give just a little glimpse of some of those stories and connections to the local area, and I'll begin with a very attractive character, Leonard Schaffrey. Schaffrey was an architect and interior designer whose name and work is spoken of in the same breath as William Morris. Like Morris, he was both an artisan and a craftsman. He lived in Edgehill Road in Ealing. His house was called Thorncote and was inspired by the Bedford Park buildings of Norman Shaw. He loved this place. Schaffrey was on the first parish council, and the font is his design and the first version of the high altar which we have here. It was with another architect connected with Bedford Park, E.J. May, that they designed the first incarnation, if you like, of this place as the Chapel of the Incarnation. Although decorated later, the altar that you see here is also Schaffrey's work. The artist Henry Charles Brewer lived in Perrin Road in Acton, along with his brother James Alphege Brewer, who lived in Avenue Road. They were leading lights of the Ealing Art Club in the 1920s. The family were Roman Catholics, but Henry's extraordinarily beautiful Annunciation scene, which you see here, is his only known church work. Now, one really interesting discovery that's come along with the research is that it's believed that the person who posed for the angel Gabriel is none other than Henry's brother James. And it's wonderful to have both brothers represented here in this place. One more name to conjure with is that of Edward Arthur Fellowes Prynne. Famous as a royal portraitist, it is his religious and allegorical paintings which have earned him the epithet, the Lost Pre-Raphaelite. Now, we're delighted that Sarah Hardy, director of the De Morgan Museum, who actually coined that phrase, will be coming here to St Peter's to give a talk about Prynne at our celebration weekend on Saturday the 1st and Sunday the 2nd of October. Prynne was a parishioner who lived at 1 Woodville Road, just down the road from the church, and his studio at the bottom of his garden is still called the Studio, though it's now an independent dwelling on the east side of Mount Park Road. At Prynne's death in 1921, Emma gifted to St Peter's a compelling and emotionally charged painting of Christ before Pilate. When you come in October, you will also be able to see that this has been beautifully cleaned and restored and returned to its former glory. You'll also be able to read much more about these artists, their context in Ealing, and this beautiful place in our new book, Angels in Ealing, the story and artists of St Peter's Lady Chapel. We very much look forward to welcoming you here on the 1st and 2nd of October. Our celebrations are completely free and open to all, but you don't have to wait until October to come here. You can come off the beaten track and find yourself among the angels. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and comment. Thank you.